Thanksgiving weekend drew long lines of shoppers for this year's Black Friday sales, with a record 141 million Americans getting in on the holiday deals. That's roughly 4 million more unique shoppers than last year's turnout. However, total spending has declined approximately 4% compared to last year's numbers. The average customer still spent just over $400 over the 4-day weekend. $57.4 billion was spent in totality by Americans nationwide. But while nearly half of the country was in line for the holiday shopping, author Mark Dice dressed as Santa Claus with a bullhorn to give who he refers to as debt slaves a piece of his mind. We'll show you a clip from Mark's interactions with this year's Black Friday shoppers, but first, we'll let Mark explain his actions featured in the viral video and what there is to make of the responses made from media outlets like the Daily Mail and Cosmopolitan magazine. Welcome back, Mark, to WHDT World News.
Thanks for having me, Gary. The Thanksgiving shopping season has been eroded and destroyed by these parasitic Black Friday shoppers, which was once contained to Black Friday, as you know, has bled over into Thanksgiving, with many big box retailers opening now Thanksgiving night, taking away the Thanksgiving dinner holiday from these poor workers. And so I decided that Santa Claus would bring these shoppers a special message to remind them exactly what it is that they're doing.
Now, Mark, you just referred to the shoppers as parasites, but are the actual big box stores, are they thriving off of those shoppers? Are they in fact the parasites?
You know, both entities are at fault. The big box stores for baiting these shoppers in with, in some cases, are tremendous good deals for the first 10 or 15, 20 people that are going to come in there. But if these shoppers simply wouldn't line up, if they would stay home with their families on Thanksgiving dinner, like the tradition has been for hundreds of years, then the stores that have attempted this new bizarre opening on Thanksgiving night phenomenon would then shut down and stay closed and revert back to the old traditions. We've seen Black Friday be open earlier and earlier. Stores started opening an hour earlier, opening at 6 a.m., opening at 5 a.m., 4 a.m., and now they're opening Thanksgiving night. And it's shameful and it's disgusting because these poor retail workers now have to take a sleeping pill at noon to then hopefully go to bed to get some kind of sleep, to then wake up to work this graveyard shift. And we're not talking about just, kids in their 20s. We're talking about many people in their 50s, 60s working these retail jobs that are then coerced into working this strange graveyard shift. And it's shameful. It's a terrible trend. And somebody
Mark, do you think that this trend is destroying the Thanksgiving tradition and destroying families in the process?
It's horrible because I personally know people whose Thanksgivings were set aside, cut short, so that the family members could go and get a better deal on a TV. And also, I've heard from just countless poor retail workers over the last week since this videos went viral, thanking me for doing this because they themselves had to give up their own Thanksgiving to then go and serve these debt slave parasites.
Now, you've made these Black Friday videos for a few years now. Was there anything different in your approach this year?
Well, this year I decided delivering the message as Santa Claus would probably resonate with people a little more, as opposed to just having, somebody drive by with a megaphone and, plant seeds about what it is that they're doing. I thought having Santa Claus deliver the message would resonate with people a little bit more. And it seems to have done so. The Drudge Report linked it up. Howard Stern was talking about it. Cosmopolitan magazine, the famous women's magazine, said that I was delusional. And then their article completely backfired because virtually every single comment was slamming Cosmo, calling them delusional.
I want to get to the Cosmo article in a moment, but last year, at least one holiday shopper threw something at your car while you were driving by. Have you had any altercations this year?
Thankfully, no, but I was considering going and getting a rental car to do this because I suspected that the hordes of intoxicated zombies would be hurling bottles, anything that they could get But I think they were in such shock that they didn't really realize what happened until they had a few seconds to process it after I had driven by. But I'm very thankful that nothing was thrown. This was in Oceanside, California, and in Carlsbad. Oceanside, where I am, is kind of a ghetto, so I'm just glad nobody pulled out a gun and didn't pop off a few rounds.
What about police? How was the police interaction, if any?
The police, I'm sure what I did is considered disorderly conduct, and it is a moving violation to use a megaphone in a car. It's a point offense, so you can get points added onto your license. But the police, I think, had too much to deal with the hordes of potentially violent shoppers. As we have seen over the last few years, these just animalistic crowds have become more and more decadent and more violent. Even a fight breaking out amongst women in Victoria's Secret over some bras and panties this year.
Now, were you driving the vehicle, filming and bullhorning at the same time, or did you have a cameraman?
Well, I attached the camera to the vehicle, and so it's a kind of an interesting cinematic, a very smooth transition. Anybody who has any experience in videography knows that if you just hold a camcorder, it can be a little shaky. So it was very easy, man. It took 10 minutes, attached the camera on the truck, drove by real quick. I hit a couple different stores because most of these stores are now opening: Kohl's, Target, Best Buy, JCPenney. So I just did the rounds around the mall and across the street at another shopping center to try to reach as many people as I could.
Now, Mark, you just recently referred to these shoppers as intoxicated zombies. Is that fair?
It's absolutely fair. It's really one of the most accurate descriptions of these hordes. You can see the countless assaults and attacks in cities across the country. These people are just really have forsaken their humanity for the sake of getting a better deal on a bigger television and new iPads so that they can isolate themselves and communicate less with their own family members, getting sucked into this virtual world, worshiping their LCD screens.
Now, when we come back, we're going to show you a clip of Mark Dice's viral video of Santa shaming the Black Friday shoppers, and we're going to get deeper into what Cosmo had to say about Mark Dice. Stay tuned to WHDT World News. We will be right back.